Hello everybody and welcome to yet another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to Dockerize your Node.js application, and I'm not only going to show you that, I'm going to show you how to wrap it inside Docker Compose for development purposes so that you can receive live updates on your code changes. And for you that haven't really read up on Docker, I really recommend doing that prior to this tutorial because I won't go through that all those Docker commands that detailed. So read up on that and then you can continue with the tutorial. So first of all, I have a really simple Node.js application. It's just an Express application. So if I go to the package.json, you see that I have a few commands, one for starting the development, one for building the code, and then one for starting production. So let's first just run yarn start dev so that I can show you that this application actually works. So we're listening to port 3000, and then in JS Fiddle, I'm just going to send a request to output the actual data received from the backend service. And if I do that, you can see that we receive a message with hello world. So that's all working fine. So let's go straight into the actual Dockerizing of this application. So first of all, create a Docker file. And now what you need to do is to define your image. So node 12 Alpine, because we don't have any other dependencies except for node. So Alpine is enough for keeping the image size small. Create a work directory. Also copy your yarn.lock file and your package.json. And if you're not using yarn, you can just copy your package.json.lock file here. All right, perfect. And after this, we want to run the actual yarn commando or npm install to install all of our dependencies. And when those have been installed, we want to copy the code that resides in the root of our folder to the root of the actual Docker container. And after that, we want to run yarn build to build our application code. And when that is done, we want to expose the port that we were listening to, which is 3000. So let's do that. And then finally, cmd, and we can either run node and build the build code, but I think I had the start production script here. So let's simply run yarn and then start production. Now to build this image, you type docker build and then you tag your image with your name, and in my case it might be I don't know, my service, and you have to supply a dot at the end, of course. There we go. All right, so now if we type docker image ls, we can see that we have an image of my service. So next off, what we want to do is to actually run the image. So type docker run and then supply the port mapping. And in our case, we want to pass 3000 to our operating system from the Docker containers port 3000. And we can say my service, which is indicating which image we want to run. And if we run this, you can see that we're listening to port 3000, so everything is set up. So hopefully now we'll receive the same results. So if I clear the console, run this, you can see that we got hello world. So now we have a Dockerized application. So let's just kill that and just check to remove our image. And I think we have the image running actually. So docker kill and then the container ID like that, and then docker image ls again, docker image rm, and then our service ID. And you need to supply the force tag. Good, so now we have deleted our image. Next off, we want to add our Docker Compose file. So let's do that real quickly. So create a new file and type docker compose.yaml. And the first argument, or the first line in this file, will be the version. So we want the version of this compose file to be, in my case, 3. You have to read up on the documentation of the different Docker compose files and the versioning and the actual syntax of it. And then we want to define these services. And in our case, it's going to be, let's say, backend service, like that. And then we want to define the image of this service, which is going to be the same as the Docker file. So the image is going to be node12 alpine, which is same as the Docker file. And then we want to add restart always. So every time you create a code change, or you do something, or you kill the container or whatever, you want to restart it, because that is what you want for development purposes. You continuously want to develop inside your Docker image. And the next thing we need to do is to supply the working directory. So you type working dash or underscore dir /user /app /source, same as before. And then we want to supply it with a volume so that we can listen to the live changes. So volume like that. It's actually going to be volumes. And then we say that, okay, our directory is going to be linked to the volume user source app. Okay, perfect. Let's do that. And then we want to supply it with the actual command to run this Docker Compose service. So command, and that's going to be yarn, and it's actually going to, no, it's going to be that way, never mind. Yarn start dev, and I think these need to be in single quotes actually. So before we go any further, make sure that you do that. I'm not really sure about that, but I'll keep it in that way. And then finally we want to define the ports that we're exposing. And in our case, it's going to be 3000 to 3000, the same as we ran the Docker image in. So now if we run docker compose up, we couldn't find a package.json file in, okay. Okay, I see what I did wrong. I actually flipped this, so it's going to be user /app /source. Really sorry about that. And now if you try it again, we can see that the service has actually started, and hopefully we'll receive a listening to 3000 here in just a few seconds. There we go, perfect. So let's try the same thing again. Let's try to send a message to it. And you can see that we received it. So finally, just to show you that this is actually working as it should, we can go into the source code and we can type another message. Maybe I don't... Jesus Christ. I don't know. And we save that. And you can now see that the actual Docker image or the Docker service is restarting due to the code changes. So hopefully we'll see a listening to port 3000 just again. And we do. And if we run this again, you can see that the message is different. So now we have actually Dockerized the application for production and also for development. So all of your developments or developers, whether you're running in a company, will have the same type of environment when trying to develop stuff on your application. So in the next tutorial, I figure I should show you how to Dockerize your front-end application, and that is a bit different. You want to build your application code and then serve it through Nginx and Nginx image. So I'll see you with that tutorial, and I hope you really enjoyed this. This is the easiest way you can do to Dockerize your NodeJS application or your backend application. Thanks for tuning in, and subscribe if you like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you and bye.